Priest are metal. They look metal. They sound metal. They are metal. And they're back with one of the most anticipated metal albums of 2018, Firepower. Okay, now as many of you can probably work out, this is going to be another car edition of Rambling On due to the beautiful weather of England, Hampshire. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to my good buddy Pato Izquierdo. Hope I pronounced your name right. Let me know if I didn't, because I can correct that when I do your review request. Yeah, this guy shared a Facebook post basically about my Sludge review, and one of the guys from Sludge, the main guy himself, actually ended up talking to me about it over Facebook and just said that he saw the review and he was and he appreciated it, so that was really cool. Thank you very much for that. And also to my good friend Ross Corson, who shared my Facebook page on his Facebook page. And being the social anxious person that I am, I immediately asked him to take it down. Ross, they're looking at me! Take it down now! Take it down! Thank you very much for your efforts, my good friend. One day I'm never going to be normal. Yeah, I believe it was Aristotle who once stated... Now, I'm not going to bother going in too much into the history of Priest. I mean, most of you should know how they sound. You should be familiar with them. They've been a staple in the metal world since the very beginning, rivaled only by Sabbath, I guess, really, in terms of what they've contributed to metal over the years. And Judas Priest is Judas Priest. You know who they are, so... For the lineup for this album, we have Rob Halford on vocals, Glenn Tipton on guitar, Ian Hill on bass, we have Richie Faulkner on guitar, and also we have Scott Travis on drums. I said in a recent post that I wasn't overly fond of Rob Halford's vocals, that I'd never really been a truly gotten into Priest. And that's no disrespect to Judas Priest at all. They're just one of those bands I seem to have missed for some reason, which for a metalhead obviously seems like a crazy thing to do. But I've often been put off by the high-pitched vocal styles. It's never been my thing. I guess when I got into metal, it was much more of that gruff, guttural sort of stuff that I got into. So I found this sort of stuff not so much to my liking. Having said that, I gave this album a chance, and I enjoyed the fuck out of this album. It's not without fault. There's definitely a few songs that I'm not so keen on, but overall, I think this is a pretty goddamn solid album, and I have to say, I have a newfound respect for Mr. Halford. Yeah, there's this guy, Rob Halford. I don't know if you've heard of him. Yeah, he can sing. I didn't realise that he spent a lot more time in the lower registers with his voice, and I have to say that his vocal performance is pretty goddamn epic on this album. I think one of the things that I really enjoyed most about this album is how unapologetically metal it is. It just screams, we are metal, and it's the best music in the world, so fuck you. And, you know, I mean, to be fair, Judas Priest have been going for well over 40 years. They're getting close to 50 years now, I think, actually. I seem to remember next year will be their 50th anniversary. I think I might have read that somewhere. But yeah, you can see why these anthemic songs just fill stadiums across the globe and have done for years. So yes, I gotta say, much respect to the Judas Priest chaps for their legacy, really. Firepower is the band's 18th studio album, and it's their first since, 2014, with Redeemer of Souls, which I think was was accepted pretty well. I think it was held in quite high regard from what I remember. This album was produced by Tom Allen and Andy Sneap, And Andy Sneap in particular has been given a lot of praise for his work on this album. This is a very 80s sounding album in terms of song structure and those sort of traditional Priest songs, but there's definitely an updated production on this. It sounds great. It sounds awesome. Just occurred to me, I've never actually sat in the back seat of my car before. What? Not even for No. As I stated in the intro as well, this is one of the most anticipated metal albums of 2018, and from what I've seen so far, it's getting largely positive reviews. I can see why as well. Fuck off. The first song of the album is the title track itself, Firepower, and although I'm not overly familiar with Judas Priest songs, I know straight away from hearing this is a Judas Priest riff. It's very 80s sounding, but as I said before, with Andy Sneap's help, it sounds very modern. It's definitely got a punch. It's certainly using all of today's modern production techniques, and it benefits for it. Really good opener. Rob's vocals, his high-pitched vocals fade into it, and we're straight into it. I think this is just under 4 minutes, this song. There's no fat on this song at all. It just goes straight into it. Great chorus, anthemic chorus. Great harmonic lead section, as there often is in Priest music. I mean, they're renowned for their dual guitar attack. An incendiary lead guitar line as well. Incendiary. Next up, we have Lightning Strike. I think this was the first single that most people would have got to hear. Maybe I'm sure a lot of you would have heard this one by now. In fact, I'm sure a lot of you, if you're a fan of the band, will have heard the album by now. Very similar formula to Firepower, as is a lot of the songs on the album, in that it keeps to that sub 4 minute length in song. Very, very focused on the songwriting, not too much mucking around, just going straight for it. All killer, no filler. I absolutely loved the chorus on this one. You're sowing the seeds to a nightmare from hell. Yeah, this is another track that just gets straight into it and doesn't disappoint. Very good. Next up, Evil Never Dies. Sounds like it's more of a down-tuned song. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing, because the first thing that came to mind with me when I was listening to this, or at least the chorus, and it kind of reminded me a bit more of King Diamond. But it's kind of weird when you're using comparisons when you've got a band who have been around as long as Priest, because they're such an innovative band and they've influenced so many of the bands that I then want to compare them to. And as I'm not too familiar with Priest in the first place, it's kind of difficult for me to state what is a Priest influence song and where are they getting their influences from. So fucking hell, God, almost sounded like I knew what I was talking about there. One thing I'll say right now as well is how much I enjoyed not just the vocals but the lyrics on the album as well, far more than I was anticipating. You've only just realised Rob Halford can sing. Twat. If the rest of their catalogue is like this, I'm definitely, well, put it this way, after hearing this album, I'm definitely going to be going back and hearing some more of their stuff. Next up, we have Never the Heroes, and this is, without a doubt, one of the standout tracks for me in this album. There were 3 songs that were released prior to the album. This was one of them, and I've enjoyed this one for a couple of weeks now. 8 is written all over it, and proudly so. This has got an infectious chorus that makes you want to do the angst fist. What? One of the things I said earlier on that I really did enjoy about this album is just how unapologetically metal it is. It's like, we are Judas Priest, we are metal, fuck you. Next up is Necromancer. Some great riffs on this one. I really enjoyed the vocals, some great lead playing on it as well. Necromancer. Children of the Sun is up next, and this has got an Eastern feel to the song. I'm guessing by the lyrics that maybe this has got a political slant to the lyrics, or the environment, or other stuff. Children of the Sun. Next up we have Guardians, which is a piano-driven instrumental piece. It's only like a minute long, which segues perfectly into Rising from Ruins. I wasn't so taken with this song, but I did think it had a great harmony guitar section towards the back half of the song. Not a bad song, just not so much my cup of tea, this one. Next up we have Flamethrower. And again, I have to say, I wasn't so taken with this song either. There was just, I don't know, I found some of the I found the lyrics and the vocals a bit cheesy on this one. Again, it's not a bad song. No. I wasn't so. You're allowed to have an opinion, arsehole. That's why people are watching. Next up is Spectre. And I wonder if this is about a certain politician that we all know. Mysterious. Despite this could be applied to an assassin, but I do kind of wonder if maybe this is aimed at Mr. Trump in some way, because he did state in a recent interview that he was being a bit more metaphorical with some of the lyrics on this album, and that politics and the environment and things like that were definitely going to play into it. So maybe it is, I don't know. Another great harmony guitar section into a lead. Great performances from all of them again. Great stuff. Traitor's Gate is next. This has got a real proper new wave of British heavy metal style riff. That's because it's Judas Priest. Into the storm, I'm gonna win. If there a sin, saved by the Traitor's Gate. Up next is No Surrender, mean riff on this one. Really enjoyed this one. We're getting into the final 3 tracks now. There were a couple of songs there that I wasn't too keen on, but we're getting back into the flow again now. Really enjoyed Rob's vocals on this one. Real anthemic arena metal. Chasing a dream as I go higher. I'm playing it mean, my heart's on fire. I'm living my life, ain't no pretender. Ready to fight with no surrender. Next up, another standout track for me. This is Lone Wolf. This has got a real swagger to it, which is kind of reminds me of Danzig or Load era Metallica. Same thing, innit? And I have to say this once again, Rob's vocals that really stood out to me on this one, which you previously dismissed. Fucking great riff as well. And now we come to the final track of the album, Sea of Red. It's a real ballad. Ballads are for girls. Got a real Scorpions vibe, which isn't a bad thing. I've got no issue with that at all. Kind of Winds of Change type sort of vibe to it. Again, great performances from all involved on this one. I'm really taken aback by just how much I enjoyed this album. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I have done. Really great album. And now that I've finished my little summary of this album, of course the sun comes out, the rain is gone. But either way, that's Firepower, an album I enjoyed way more than I was anticipating. Very good album, very strong album. So what have I got coming up next? Well, I've got a review of Between the Buried and Me, which I'm going to go out and film now, I think. And I should also have a review of Americant, Ministry's new album. I haven't actually managed to get a copy of it yet, but hopefully I should be able to remedy that later on. Oh God. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment, share, get notifications, all the usual shit that you have to do. And yeah, I'll catch you later.